I think it's time to talk about the Bank of England and all the centralized machines and globalist machines who are simply helping the elite. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the globalist establishments, the centralization mentality of the Western system. So it's quite fascinating what's been going on over the last few days post the mini budget. It's the hats and the roles of these big institutions have been brainwashing the general public for a long time, but I think the mask is now slipping. So for example, when you have an organization like the IMF coming out to warn against Brexit during the referendum, some people fell for it. Some people say, well, it's the IMF, they are credible. When you have the US president warning you against things, well, it's the US president. The Bank of England coming out to say something, well, maybe we should listen. Well, things are now changing because they have been so wrong in the past that, as I said, the mask is now slipping. Now, you've seen already over the last few days, I just want to talk about the role of the Bank of England and how things are getting worse. Because, of course, it's in their interest to attack Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng because they want to go ahead with the digital currencies. And the more you want to decentralize the powers, as Liz Truss and Kwasi want to do, then it's not going to make it easy for Bank of England to do what they want. They would have been fine under Rishi Sunak, but not under Liz Truss. So we've had the Bank of England kicking off because of the budget, and of course the inflation and the interest rates. They always use the interest rates as a mechanism to essentially, on the one hand, reward but also punish the government decisions. So are we deciding whether the Bank of England is independent or not? Are they political or not? Because when they come out and say, well, Bank of England is stepping in to calm the markets down. Yeah, it didn't work, by the way. Because the markets don't really want the Bank of England to keep getting involved. They already panic every single time traders have to sit behind the screens, wait for the announcement from Bank of England on a regular basis every season when it comes to any announcement, interest rates or just generally speaking. And then now they say, well, yeah, we're going to get involved now. We are independent, but we're also political. So of course it's going to kick off. Now, Bank of England launched bond buying program to prevent material risk to the UK financial stability. And of course the reaction was the exact opposite. Now the pound is already recovering because we have seen the reaction was an overreaction from the market, and that's just normal. Same thing happened on the Brexit, the referendum. The dollar was already going up, the pound collapsed, euro collapsed, all the currencies collapsed. Of course, that was normal. The pound is already coming back up. It's actually higher than what it was on the before the mini budget announcement, which was 1.8. Now it's 1.12. It actually went close to 1.13 earlier. But it is what it is. That's just the reality. But what are we going to do about the Bank of England? Because some people, some of the globalist elites, were expecting Liz Truss and Kwasi to be a classic globalist puppet or a sheep. But in reality, they're doing the exact opposite. You've had the World Economic Forum coming out to attack Liz Truss. You had the IMF coming out. You had the Eurozone. I don't understand why it's the job of the Eurozone people or the European Union to come and criticize the UK when their own markets are collapsing badly. Not really sure why it's in their interest to actually do that, because every time they say it, their own markets collapse much worse. Why is it that these guys were expecting Liz Truss to be a globalist puppet, but in reality, so far, she's doing the exact opposite? Now, you're not going to get proper nuance in many places because any media outlet or newspapers, you've got some who love Liz Truss. They will always defend and worship her. You have some who hate Liz Truss. Even if she does something good, they're not going to praise her. This channel, I'm not pro Liz Truss, I'm not anti Liz Truss. I'm just going to go and, as usual, if they do something right, I praise them. If they do something stupid, I will call them out. And I think that's the best way to go ahead. But the current world of politics is so polarized, there's absolutely no point in just listening to echo chambers. You have to find out from both sides and analyze it for yourself. Don't even let me tell you how to think. You need to form your own opinion. That's the best way to do it. But we're going to continue the fight back against the lies and against the bias and against the spin. And we're going to come back in half an hour. We're going to tell you how Zelensky of Ukraine is now triggering the lefties. Basically, the lefties have changed their mind and now attacking Zelensky on some very particular issue. Subscribe to the channel. On my TC and we are the media.